Leinster beat Connacht, but they really made them work for it. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. Leinster got off to the perfect start in this one. After a couple of minutes, they get a penalty. They kick it into the 22. They go for the line out, secure it, drive the maul. Van der Fleer breaks off the back and puts Foley over in the corner. Ross Byrne then converts from out on the touchline, 7-0 after 3 minutes. The first quarter saw a lot of Leinster possession and territory. They tried to do the same thing a few more times, like they're getting penalties, they're kicking it into the corner, or they're kicking it into the 22 and going for the line out. But to Connacht's credit, they're getting up there, they're putting a lot of pressure on the Leinster line out, they're making it very difficult for them to secure their own ball. They nick a couple of the throws as well and just make it very scrappy. And Leinster finding it hard to add to their early score. Also, Connacht are being very aggressive in defence. We're seeing mistakes from Leinster's backline that maybe we wouldn't normally see. Finally then, at the beginning of the second quarter, Leinster do get the driving line out going. They get over the line, but they get held up. Connacht are able to clear. And then a few minutes later, then Connacht are able to kind of lift the siege that was happening there in the first quarter. Porch puts in a great clearing kick. Leinster let it bounce a little bit, and then they get kind of swallowed up. They get swarmed by Connacht players coming forward, get pinged for holding on. Connacht get the penalty. They kick it to the corner. They want to go for their own driving maul themselves. Line out goes fine, but Leinster get in there and they disrupt them all. Connacht then, they're out on the right-hand side and they try and spin it very quickly out to the left. But there's a pass from round about the middle of the pitch out to the wing, but actually goes clear into touch. Leinster then are able to secure their line out and clear. But at this point now, momentum was switched and it's Connacht with sustained pressure. Rain starts coming down as well, making handling a bit more difficult. It's not like the monsoon type thing that we saw for Ulster versus Leinster, but it's still slippery conditions. Obviously, the 4G pitch. Leinster then win a scrum penalty with 5 minutes of the half left. Ross Byrne steps up. It's pretty much in straight in front, and you're kind of expecting him to get it because he's generally, like, considering last season, he had a pretty good percentage, but misses it to the left. Then Leinster have another line out, and Connacht have really gotten it ahead at this stage in the line out, and it's a not straight. There's a few burbles, and it just breaks up into handbags flying everywhere, people, pushing and shoving and stuff. Referee tells them to cop on. Then we get scrum, and so Leinster have been kind of on top of the scrum for about the first 30 minutes or so, but then Connacht put in a big scrum. Tyke Fairlawn actually gives away a penalty. I think he gave away a couple in this game. Connacht are really pumped up after that. They kick to the corner. Again, Leinster are able to get in there again, disrupt them all, but they get pinged for offside. Connacht go to the corner again. Leinster, this time in, I think, a very pivotal point of the game. They actually get in there and they're able to shepherd the driving maul into touch. And that's the halftime whistle. We were in the red when they were trying to drive that maul. So, start of the second half then, scrum penalties either way. Doesn't look like the referee is favouring either side in the scrum. So I wouldn't say it's a bit of a lottery. I'd say that he's watching out for certain things, and both teams are getting pinged for it. Leinster then have penalty advantage to go for cross kick into 22. Russell is out on the wing, and he's not really he doesn't come to get the ball. He kind of waits for the ball to bounce a couple of times so that he can gather it, and he just gets swallowed up by the Connacht defenders. Maybe if he was a little bit more aggressive and just tried to either get the ball, on the first bounce or something like that, he might have got in, but by the time he was ready to actually collect the ball, there were so many Connacht players there that there was no way he was getting over. Leinster then, from the penalty, Byrne steps up. Again, it's one that you would expect him to get, but this time it fades a little bit to the right, and it looked like maybe the wind there, that the distance, he just didn't have the distance for it, and maybe he gave it just a bit too much. Carty for Connacht, he's having a pretty good game. He's shown a bit of ambition with his passes. But something with Connacht that I hadn't noticed in other games, they're standing very flat on attack, so that they're spinning the ball out wide, but guys are catching it when they're standing still. With that, then it's very easy for Leinster to defend against that. I think if the guys are running onto the ball from deep, they probably would have made some ground. Connacht were trying to get it out to the wing and get around the edge of Leinster. We've seen teams before attack that area for Leinster where sometimes they're very narrow in defence, and Connacht were trying to do that, get the ball out to the wing quickly. But again, the problem was guys are receiving the ball and they're standing still, and the person outside them, when they're passing on again, that person's standing still because they're basically just in a line. So there's no kind of depth on the runs, and there wasn't really much disguise on things either. It was just like hands down the line, and Leinster could just drift, and because the guys have no momentum, then it was very easy to shut them down. But the same thing for Leinster as well. Leinster had a bit more depth on their attack, but it was still Connacht were being very aggressive in the defence, and they're able to shut them down as well. For both teams really at this point of the game, defence was on top. Connacht then, they're on attack. They've got a maul going. Leinster get in, disrupt it. They try and break off it, and there's too many Leinster players there, and Hansen is a bit over-eager with his clean out at the ruck. He cleans out beyond the ruck, concedes a penalty. Leinster are able to clear, but at that point then, James Ryan as well, he seemed to have twisted his knee or something as he got cleaned out of another ruck, and he didn't look right after that then. Connacht then, though, they're still coming back, and they're very close to levelling things up, really. They've got a lot of the momentum, but they're not really, their attack's not really clicking. They kick a penalty into the Leinster 22. They go for the line out. The line out, like before this game for the season, like on their own line out, they were 100%. And in this match as well, it was generally pretty much guaranteed they're going to win their own ball. This one, though, just when it counts, not straight. We get a scrum then. Leinster win a penalty from the scrum and they're able to clear. And it was kind of the way the second half was going, where Connacht would build a little bit of pressure. Leinster would force some kind of error, and then they'd be able to clear. Connacht again, then they come with some more pressure. Like Leinster had the ball and Leinster on attack, but they weren't going forward. Like Connacht were driving them backwards. Like, they were so quick in their line speed, and Leinster were playing with the players coming from depth, but Connacht were getting there that by the time they went two or three passes over, they were 5 to 10 meters back from where they started. Then we have a period where we got a bit of kick tennis going on. Hansen goes for a tight kick to the touchline, misjudges it, kicks it out on the full. Leinster are able to come back up for the line out, to take the line out, to have a maul going. Sheehan then breaks off the side of the maul, shows great pace to make his way up the wing. Leinster then switch it to the opposite wing, but Porch, I have to say, he put in an amazing covering tackle. He made up ground, just committed himself wholly to the tackle. May not have been like a guaranteed try, but he just shut down the move. A couple of minutes later then, Van der Fleer bursts through in the middle of the pitch. Looks like he's going to pin his ears back and go for the try line. Like, the guy does have fairly good pace, but Porch runs him down. And that guy's, they talk about pace, that guy is gas to burn. Another great tackle there. Then we have some cynical play from Murray. He gets himself a yellow card. Frawley converts the penalty for 10-0. It's still pretty close, but it looks like, they just beginning to ebb away for Connacht. And at this point, with a few minutes left, they're going for, either a penalty or a try to get within that losing bonus point. They do get a scrum penalty on the halfway. Clock is in the red. Looks like it's too far away for a kick at the post, because, as I said, it's kind of a little bit inside their own half, if I remember correctly. So Carty decides he's going to kick for the corner so that they can get in position to maybe, go for a drop goal or whatever, try and win under penalty or even get a try. He kicks it to the corner. He gives it a little bit too much. The ball goes dead, and then that's it. The game is over. 10-0 to Leinster. Probably one of the toughest wins they'll have this season. Connacht, it's a loss, but they're definitely improving. We saw a lot more in defence from them we've seen for the entire season to date. On attack wasn't so good, but once they get those two elements of their game clicking in the same match, they are going to start picking up a few wins. In terms of Leinster, they're just going to be happy that it's another win on the board and the Leinster machine just keeps on trucking on. Just a word for the referee as well. So Frank Murphy had a pretty good game with the whistle. He wasn't taking any of this off the ball nonsense in the handbags and stuff. He put a stop to that pretty quickly. Also, he didn't cede his responsibility to the TMO the way we've seen with a lot of referees lately. There was especially one point in the first half where Leinster got held up over the line, and we've seen before in other games where you'll have like 3 to 5 minutes of watching replays from every possible angle and then realizing that, it's impossible to make a determination one way or the other. And we just go back to the on-field decision, wherever that was, from the referee on the spot. But Murphy in this instance just said, listen, I'm in good position here. I can see that was held up and there was no double checking with the TMO. He's happy to back himself on that. And overall, I felt he kept the game flowing and kept a good pace up as well. Now, the water breaks did kind of slow things down, but that's not really in his control. That's something that, World Rugby are going to have to sort out themselves. But for him, yeah, a decent game in the middle there.